Yogi Bear is smarter than the average bear. Yogi Bear is always in the ranger's hair. At a picnic table you will find him there, stuffing down more goodies than the average.
The early Hanna-Barbera cartoons were just very fresh. I was 7 years old when Huck went on the air, and suddenly along came these shows that were new, and they were fresh, and they had a connection with the audience. My name is Mark Evanier. I write TV shows and comic books and cartoon shows and all sorts of things. When the Huckleberry Hound show debuted, there were 3 cartoons on it, and I couldn't even tell you which one I liked the best, but I think early on, Yogi Bear pulled into the lead because he was such a hypnotic character. You just couldn't take your eyes off him, what he was going to do. He kind of stole the show from everybody else to the point where people were referring to it as the Yogi Bear show. So it was kind of natural that they would spin him off into his own series. Well, for years, Bill Hanna and Joe Barbera made these wonderful, fully animated theatrical cartoons. And the market for theatrical cartoons died, and one day these men found themselves out of work, and they had nothing to do but to invent, basically, the television cartoon. Something with a greater reliance on voices, much simpler graphics. They simplified the animation. If you look at a lot of Hanna-Barbera cartoons, especially the early ones, it's amazing how actions are not on the screen that you think you see. Huckleberry Hound roller skates off camera, you hear the crash, and then you see the aftermath. No one actually animated the crash. That was mostly Bill Hanna, because he storyboarded most of those cartoons, and Bill knew how to cut around the action and make you think you were seeing more than you were. At that point, we would bring in Dawes Butler and Don Messick, or whoever was doing the voices at that time, and they'd record this wonderful little voice track.
Welcome to Jellystone Park, folks.
Then the next thing they would do is they would amend the storyboard. They would add in Dawes' contributions. Instead of cutting out the extra lines, they'd stick them in someplace. Dawes had a way of adding extra syllables for maximum advantage, like pick-a-nick basket.
Ski slide? Without snow, I don't want to go. Hold it, ladies.
Wanted, Horse McGonagall and his pal Mugger. Bank robbers. Boy, it'll be a feather in the cap of whoever catches them.
They didn't really lip sync exactly to the words, just as a ventriloquist doesn't open his mouth, the dummy's mouth, the same number of syllables he's actually saying, but it gives the impression of speaking. I would say that about 85 to 90% of the character's personality came out of Dawes' voice. There were all these cases where Dawes would introduce a speech affectation or an attitude, and it would show up in the scripts for subsequent cartoons. He had this way of taking even the most prosaic, boring copy and bringing life to it.
What's this? Boy-type scouts. Thousands and thousands of them with Boy Scout goodies. A little heavy on the hamburger side, but good nourishing food. And like their motto, be prepared, I'm prepared to become their official food taster.
They had a lot of really good people working on the early Hanna-Barbera cartoons. In addition to Bill and Joe, who were great directors themselves, they had guys like Ed Benedict and Dick Bickenbach designing the material and designing the model sheets and doing the graphics. And these guys knew how to get a lot of expression out of very few lines. And you had writers like Michael Maltese and Charlie Shows and Warren Foster. And they were just funny guys. They knew how to time punchlines. They knew how to make use of Dawes Butler's skill as a comedian. They just created stars, and they were very fully formed characters. Yogi Bear had more personality than any other cartoon show of the time. Yogi proved that it was possible to get real personality into a limited animation show. Yogi's a star. He's bigger than anyone else.